Hello, and welcome to another segment of Lineage Lessons.
Happy to be here.
Yes. And so, although we're not calling them episodes, I like the term segment, or as you say, sharing.
It's a little sharing.
It's a little sharing.
It's a little sharing.
And so, prior to this video, we discussed topics that were important to us, that we felt that you all would be interested to know about. And so today we're going to get into these three generations. Of course, I am the daughter, and
I am the mother. And I think we're going to also talk about today our matriarch,
yes,
my mom, Dorothy Rogers, who, um, really inspired who I am. And what I think is going to be interesting about our conversation is I'm going to talk a little bit about my mom and then growing up with her, how it sort of affected me, and then what that meant for you as the granddaughter, And so I think we've talked about before, I have three other sons, but Dorielle is the heir apparent. She is the granddaughter. She is the one. and
I am
so
she.
and so like there was a clear delineation here. Let's start with Doriel's name. My mother's name is Dorothy, and then my name is Rochelle. So it was going to be Dorel, and then her dad was like, "I don't feel represented," so we added the RI for him. So Doriel, and the reason I bring that up is because it was imperative for me to have part of my mom, represented in your name, right? So my mom is has just celebrated her 80th birthday this year, and has been blind for the entirety of my life. And so, as I was growing up, having a blind mom meant that I had to assume a lot of different responsibilities, right? I remember vividly going to, I don't know, the grocery store, right? And I would have to tell her, a can of string beans is this much, and this is what it is. And I would have to make sure that any money that she was paying um, was the correct money. She wasn't being shortchanged and all those other things. And so there was a lot of responsibility. I didn't realize until like really recently, I started to reflect on why I didn't feel like you, Dorielle, was like having the same onus of responsibility for me that I have for my mother. And Dorielle was like, "You're not blind." And I was like, "I know." But also, like, don't you want to take care of me? And she was like, no, not
That's
really. And it was just, it was just like, oh, that was my responsibility. But it was,
it was not appropriate. Most recently, part of our conversation was that you were talking about how often you call Dee Dee. I call her Dee Dee, and we'll get into that later, of course, in my how I grew up and how I built my relationship with my grandmother. But for this context, Dorothy, Dorothy, yes, I was reflecting on how you call her like every morning, or I remember getting dropped off at school, and I'm realizing now, okay, you're calling her because you're also providing for her in a certain way, making sure that she's okay. But I was like, damn, they hella cool. Like they're really close, like they're besties. And I think it's okay for it to also be slightly obligatory. And I think I didn't realize that until, of course, you started talking about you getting older. And you were like, so what are we going to do? And I was like, I don't know.
let's be clear. The first time we talked about it, he was like, I'm not taking care of you the way
I
that you
was
took
like,
care of
what
Didi.
the
And I was like, what? Why would you not give that level of care? And
Yeah.
then you were like, because wait a minute, like there's a reason.
What?
And it really had to hit me because this was my normal,
Yeah, that's real.
right?
That's
It
so
was just my
real.
normal. I grew up understanding my great grandmother would write me letters, and at the end of the letter she was like, make sure you take care of your mom. Then my granddaddy was like, make sure you take care of your mom. When my grandfather gave me a car at 16 in high school, I was like, "Ooh, I'm about to be rolling." He was like, "This is for you to take care of your mom, right? This is for you to go to get groceries for your mom."
Yeah.
So there was always this sense of you need to be taking care of your mother. And so when I got children, especially a daughter, I was like, well, great. Now
Someone can.
somebody can take care of me. Dorielle was like, no,
She
fam.
was not great. That was a miscommunication at birth. And yeah, so I think one of the questions that I'm interested in is how did that affect your perception of like care and what it means to be a daughter, and conversely, what it means to be a mother? So if you can define both of those and
Yeah.
from your perspective, and then maybe I'll share, and then we can have a Venn diagram
We can put them together, find the center.
of confusion, because what?
No, I mean, those are really great questions. I mean, first of all, I did not see my mother taking care of her mother in that way, right? So, um, for me, a mother, and much what my mother tried to do for me in ways that she couldn't do, like physically, but because my mother is the original Christian, like there's Christians and then there's my mom. And so I feel like her thing was, I can't do anything for you financially, but I'm going to be praying for you. I'm going to cover you. I'm going to make sure that you're okay. I'm going to make sure that God's got you.
Very Christian.
Super,
I wanted
like,
to re-say
super duper.
yeah.
But I appreciated that I would be like, oh, I have a test in Spanish, or I never took Spanish. I have a test in French. And she'd be like, I'm going to pray about that. And I was like, great, because I didn't study. And so, and even when I would take Ben to school, I don't remember if this happened for you, but when I would take Ben, that's her younger brother, to school, and he would have a test, she would be like, let's pray on the way to school for the. Oh, so that did happen for you. Okay.
That was the answer to everything.
It's true.
And I've never heard it described like that. The way that you described it, as a way of her providing her resources.
Yeah.
And I'm today years old. That went over my head. I didn't even think about it that way. I was like, damn, she clinging to that. Jesus is really her dog, though.
No,
but I never thought about it
because she has said to me numerous times, I can't give you, a monetary resources. She couldn't drop me off. She couldn't drive. She couldn't, right? Damn. But she was like, what I can do with the armor, like with the hand up, with the cross right here. Yeah. I can pray God's covering on you, right? And so for her, that was her way of providing that resource. And then when y'all came along, she wanted to know everything you were going through. When you needed to get into college, she was like, we're going to pray for the college where God wants her to go, right? We're going to pray that she gets into the school. We're going to pray for her grades. We're going to pray, right? And so my mother's prayer life, it was really about not just what she wanted, but really covering family, because she was like, that was her greatest resource. Yeah. So I grew up with that. And so for me, when you ask me what motherhood is providing resource.
Oh, shit. Y'all, this is a good episode for myself. What's it? It's a segment? It's an episode now. This is some tea.
Motherhood for me has always been, how do I both cover and provide resources for children, because that's what I saw my mom doing.
That kind of sucks.
Why?
That sounds hard. Well, what if you don't have nothing?
Well, there's that.
No, that's
but
real.
If you think about the way that I was like, when you played basketball for that 1.5 year,
I played basketball all through middle school, y'all.
Okay, but when you got to high school though and really started playing,
yeah,
okay, and you were on a team.
You're also on a team in middle school, just in case those people don't.
I mean, I didn't feel like you were serious until high school. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Okay. And remember, you were like, if I'm gonna be on the team, I gotta have the purple this, and I gotta have the bag.
I was really intense about that.
You were really.
I was compensating. I was compensating.
You're like, I may not be able to play, but I'm gonna look like a player. You had to have the shoe,
look the part,
right? And so I was like, ooh, I don't know. And my mother was like, well, I don't have it. So then we
Oh
called your Aunt
yeah,
Mamie,
Ricardo,
and we were
shit.
like, Dorielle needs the bag, the
Right.
whatever those types of Air Force, whatever they were, I don't know, and the outfit so that you could be properly clad,
Right, I do remember that.
because that's what motherhood is, right? It's if
Wow.
your child is doing something, you
Sure.
support the hell out of your child, right? So when you went to yeah, there were some things in middle school, but I really feel like high school was where you were like, I'm gonna do it all. And so you decided to be on the basketball team, and then you
I did
were,
cheer.
Lord, cheer was really expensive.
It was. It still is.
But that was what you were doing. And I was like, I'm 100% behind my daughter. And then you were like, and I'm gonna go to this college that's hella far away that we've never been to in life. And then we were like,
Yeah.
we're gonna right. So that's motherhood. It's creating resources and opportunities to basically pour into your children so they can have the ability to choose whatever the hell they want.
Mm.
And because my mom didn't have financial resources, she was like, I'm going to pour spiritually.
That's wow. On this segment of Lineage Lessons, we are
Lessons we're
getting.
learning.
I am dead ass today years old by that definition
You're going to
and
learn today.
by right, by that perspective that you just gave me. And that's Rochelle on motherhood. Wow, I need to process. In the interim, I think I will try to share my definition of a daughter because one thing I'm clearly unaware of, based upon your definition, is the definition of a mother. But I think a daughter, a gift from God.
Okay. True. True.
But I think we have a responsibility to be a mirror, a
Mm.
reflection. You are supposed to, a mother has a daughter to learn from and to acknowledge and to pour into. The daughter also has the responsibility of defeating generational curses,
Mm.
doing things the mother could not do due
Mm-hmm.
to circumstances or insecurities. It could be a bunch of things.
Mm-hmm.
I think the daughter has a responsibility to uphold the values of the family.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these things I'm kind of hating as I'm saying out loud because I'm tired. But yes, there is an upholding, there is a passing of the torch.
Mm. Absolutely.
The daughter also resembles, I think, what the family is about. And I think that the daughter's, you know, path to ascension or path to actualization should reflect all of the best parts of the family. Wow. I
And
think
not
I'm the
be
shit, apparently.
okay. But
I was
also, I was going to say, so in things where there's where the values aren't speaking to the daughter, right? I
mm,
feel like the daughter's journey is also to question lovingly.
yeah. On the next episode, me questioning unlovingly.
Absolutely.
We'll discuss.
Facts. Facts. But I think it's like to question lovingly and to bring, the family into the next piece of what the values will stand
An
for,
ushering of sorts.
an ushering, because as you started to define a daughterhood, being a daughter, I was able to take what my mom did and elevate, right? That's what you want, or that's what we should want. Each successive generation should be able to do more than the previous generation. And I'm not talking about get more, make more. I'm talking about be more in terms of how you move in your own personhood, right?
Absolutely.
So there were a lot of barriers that I didn't feel like I could push on that I see you pushing on that are amazing. So one particular thing, like your music, I remember the first time, or maybe I don't know if it's the first time, but you were like, okay, so I'm doing music, and I was like, what now?
I know.
Like what? What's happening?
I'm still surprised.
Well, because when I was growing up, there was so much hate. It was just I couldn't have myself out there like that. Like it would have devastated me to have people coming at me because I wasn't really, really, really good. You know what I mean? And you get to be free to put it out there, and whatever comes comes.
She said, your music is shitty and you
That's
don't
not what I'm
care.
saying.
And
That's
you feel
not what
free
I'm
in it. No, I'm messing with you. But it is different.
It's a freedom
And
now.
but it's also not only that, I think you were in a different generation where you were like around church people too.
Yes.
Like a lot of your music center is like religion based. And y'all, it's a lot of that. So there's not a lot
Wait
of
a
like
minute.
cutesy.
What is it a lot of?
Like that's because that's what I'm doing. I'm giving this.
You're
I'm doing
not
my music.
though. You're not
And I'm
giving that.
rapping
Yes.
too, of course. Which, multitudes of your Facebook community has been confused by my life path. And I am. But I think to your point, that's the next step.
Because see what it
Putting
does is
yourself out
there's a freedom that social media and that your generation has of like, I'm gonna put it out there. It's good, it's great, it's wonderful, or it's just my expression. And it doesn't have to be at this level of whatever. So I'm reminded when I started my choir, this is my second choir or third choir, I don't know, it's the most recent choir.
million.
Right. When I started the choir and you were like, we're not gonna just come sing.
Yeah.
And I was like, it needs to be excellent. And she was disgusted.
Oh, it was so on the next episode. Like
Okay.
when I tell you there's so much to discuss.
But I was like, how else do you sing gospel music unless you go, And so there is a sense of like freedom of expression that I don't believe. I want you to be more disgusted. I don't believe that I experienced. I was in church,
real.
but let's be clear. Also, I was classically trained.
That's true.
And that's
a lot.
Is about excellence.
That's a no for me.
So I spent years in the Young Musicians program at Cal Berkeley when I was growing up. I was, in college, I was classically trained. And you had to, not only is it about excellence, it's about white excellence.
I was going to say that.
Right. So I didn't get a chance to be like, I had to know the Baroque masters, but I couldn't know the people who were broke. There was bars. Thank you.
That was Steve.
Thank you.
She's a rapper too, y'all.
Okay.
Plot twist.
I'm a songwriter. So like I couldn't do anything with Black composers in my undergrad degree. They weren't interested in that.
Did you major in music?
Yes, Dorielle.
Damn.
I double majored in music and sociology with an emphasis in business.
As God intended.
As God intended.
I made it in psychology.
Yeah, it's all the same.
Honestly, I you have so many degrees. I forgot about the
really
first one.
So many. I only have 3.
Well, but I wasn't there.
No, you weren't
for your first one, so I forgot about your intense love for music outside of like gospelness, gospel-esque. Yeah. So wow.
But let's be clear: the music degree. That's why I double majored. Was my way to get a free 4-year college ride.
Oh, they offered it to you in music?
Yes. I know you've heard this story. Remember, I was auditioning. I was playing for Auntie Meredith. They saw me play. They asked me to come in. And then I auditioned and they were like, we want you full ride. And my mama, and I was like, I don't want to go to that little tired little college up in the hills.
But she was like, you got to go where the money is.
She said, you got to go where the money is because we ain't got the money.
You know what? Look at, on this segment of Lineage Lessons, you see how we done circle back?
It's a full circle.
It's God. Wow. So in that regard, to her not necessarily having that financial piece, as you got older, and of course you were ramsacked with these new definitions that probably is very traumatic for people of your age group, did you process, like, did you ever feel like you were missing things? With no disrespect to my grandmother.
My mother has done, she's an angel among angels. Okay, let's just say that.
But this is your tell-all.
Yeah.
We'll invite her on the next segment.
Okay. I think, it was a lot growing up with a mom without a dad. So let me parenthetically say there was no dad, right? And so there was never a dad. So I want to say that my granddad was great for standing in as much as he could be like, hey, baby, here's $5. But, there was never that male presence that I believe that you had your whole life. So it was just me and mom. And that has its own challenges. So as I grew up, there were a lot of things when you have a mom who's blind and can't see you, when she tells you you're beautiful, for example, I didn't believe her. Because how was she? No,
But no, that's so real.
Because how was she?
Because you would tell me and I wouldn't believe you, and you can see me, so it gets to a
Really, you
point.
didn't believe me?
No,
You've got to be kidding me.
that's a whole different thing.
Okay, that's beauty for the next episode.
Right? I was like, this is gonna be 40 years long. We ain't gonna now. What we gonna do is have 40 million different things. Clearly, we need to discuss outside of just recording.
I had no idea.
I mean, I always told you that. I was like, I needed you to feel that you were beautiful. Because we look alike. That
was
now they didn't see that on social media. Where I was like, don't we look like you? Like, you look like I know I don't look like my dad. That I look like you. Yeah. And so if I am beautiful, you are beautiful. I used to say that all the time. You would be like, yeah, but like you're tall. I'm like, what does that have to do with it? Like, it's too much. Like,
I would say
yes.
I looked at you and saw this beautiful chocolate baby from like 2 years old. I was like, this is the most gorgeous, chocolatey, just gorgeous Black woman. And then as you did grow older and grow taller, which I've always been short, I was like, not only is she gorgeous, but body, yada, 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 all day. And I was like, this is everything, right? And because of how I grew up, I never wanted you to doubt. So I was like, not only am I going to tell you that you're beautiful, I'm going to have your brothers tell you that, because I know Mark definitely told you that you were beautiful. And I was like, you going to know beauty up in here. And then Dorielle was like, oh, I look like you. And I was like, well, no, not really.
I was like, well, now I'm confused. Like, what the hell? I'm literally your daughter. I literally look like you. Like, that was deep. But what I processed in looking at, because Didi doesn't know what you look like, respectfully. We're aware.
She's never seen me.
Yes, which is deep.
Yeah.
And you literally are dark skinned and you are thick, which in this context makes sense because I am dark skinned and thick. But Didi is a small, light skinned, thin woman, and
she's not light skinned. She's brown.
She's brown,
but she's closer to lighter than
she's closer to our palm than not.
Right.
So, and then get this, y'all.
Get this.
My great grandmother is like almost white passing.
Yeah,
she has like hazel eyes or some shit.
She had green eyes. Yeah. So, okay. So
I would have issues too.